class is a little low body love for those people that have been working all day standing on their feet or even sitting all day. So find a comfortable seated position where you can sit up tall. And it might be that it's not really that comfortable for you to sit on the floor, so if you need to sit on a chair or something for this part, you can go ahead and get that. Otherwise, not really any other props unless you like to use blocks, and you can use those at your own discretion. So sitting up tall, close your eyes. Start to drop into yourself. And just noticing things. Notice how your breath is right now. And when you're ready, start to deepen your breath. So lengthening your inhales and exhales. And as you're sitting here, noticing any sensations that are already happening in your lower back, at the creases of your hips, your knees, and in your feet. So just knowing those things that come up for you usually from being on your feet or sitting all day. And as we start to move through different poses and exercises, those that feel extra good, see if you can kind of bookmark those in your brain. That way you can use them at any time, not just when you take the time to take an hour-long yoga class. See if you can relax a little bit more at the creases of your hips, your lower back. Let your legs be heavy. Soften the soles of your feet. Feel your feet on the ground, no matter how they're laying there, no matter how they're sitting there. Feel yourself supported by whatever surface you're sitting on. And from that place, sit up a little taller. Tuck your chin slightly, lifting the back of your head. And continue to deepen your breath. Breathing slowly through your nose if you can. Inhaling first, filling the bottom of your lungs, then the middle, then the top. And exhaling from the top of your lungs through the middle to the bottom. As you inhale, feel your belly and your chest and your shoulders expand, get bigger. As you exhale, feel yourself fall back to place. This might require some effort to breathe this way, filling up your belly, then your chest, then your shoulders. Exhaling from your shoulders through your chest to your belly. Just stick with it. Keep practicing. Nice, slow, even breaths. We're going to try to keep breathing like this throughout class. And you might notice that your breath, the texture of your breath starts to change. Just bring it back to your slow, smooth breath. You can leave your hands where they are or bring them together in front of your heart. And let's sing the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale. Begin to open your eyes. you have props, you're gonna move them out of your way. And lay on your back. Bring your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And again, just noticing places and parts of you that are gonna need this the most. Probably already know where you're gonna get the most sensations. So just thinking about that now and how you're gonna just breathe nice slow breaths through the intensity. Okay, let your knees drop over to the left, and we'll do a simple twist here. Then take your left hand on the outside of your right thigh, stretch your right arm out to the side and breathe. Continuing to cultivate those long, slow, deep breaths. Filling up your belly and your chest on the inhale, and then letting that go on the exhale. Take another big, slow breath. Reach your left arm out to the side. Draw your low ribs in, and then bring your knees back up over your hips and over to the right. And then take your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Stretch, keep your left arm where it is and breathe. Nice slow breaths. You can even imagine taking your breath where you need it the most. Take another deep breath here. Take your right arm out to the side. And once again, bring your knees up over your hips. Take your knees out wider than your chest or than your abdomen, and then line your ankles up over your knees, getting ready for happy baby pose. Either hold on to your ankles or the pinky side edges of your feet and rock from side to side. Breathing nice slow breaths, relax at the creases of your hips. Soften the muscles between your pubic bone and tailbone and your two sitting bones. Okay, come to center and then bring both of your feet up toward the sky, straightening your knees as best as you can, bring your legs together. Push your heels up and then interlace your fingers at the back of your right hamstrings or on your right hamstrings. And then take your left leg straight ahead, hover your left heel just above the floor. Push your thigh into your hand, push your left foot forward. And then start to bend and unbend your right knee. Just do that a few more times. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Okay, bring your right knee closer to your chest. Interlace your fingers now at your shin, and then let your left foot come to the floor. Turn your left toes out to the left, and hug your right thigh closer to your belly. One more nice slow breath here. Okay, use your hands, bring your hands to the inside of your right knee and start to push your right leg a little further out to the side. And then take your left arm out to the side as well. And breathe. And one more breath.
Using your right hand, guide your right knee back in line with your hip. Interlace your fingers around the front of your right shin. Pull your right thigh towards you. Flex your left toes towards your shin. Hover your heel once again. Take a breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, lift your left foot back up. Bend your left knee. Interlace your fingers, or actually straighten both of your legs. Interlace your fingers on your left hamstring muscle. So you might change the clasp. The opposite fingers can come on top. And then start to slowly lower your right leg, keeping your right toes flexing toward your shin. Push your foot forward and your thigh into your hands and pull with your hands. And then start to bend and unbend your left leg. You might be able to feel your hamstring muscles moving and working. Just a few more of these. Breathe slowly and deeply. You might notice that your low ribs are pulling away from the floor. You can press down there. Okay, now bring your right thigh close, or left thigh closer to your chest. Interlace your fingers now around your left shin. And then let your right heel set on the floor. Pull your left thigh closer to your belly and breathe. Keep stretching your right leg away from you. Another breath. Bring your hands a little more to the inside of your left knee, and then using your hands, guide your left knee out wider than your belly. And breathe. Take another long, slow breath. Use your hands, guide your knee back in line with your hip, back over your belly. Yep, and then bring your right foot back up to the ceiling. Stretch your left leg up. Awesome. Cross your right ankle behind your left, and then walk your hands up the back of your legs, bringing your legs closer to your face. And breathe. Your butt will probably lift up off the floor. That's totally fine. You might even like kind of rolling from side to side on your back. Breathe slow, deep breaths. It's not plow pose. You don't have to lift up that far. Okay, cross your ankles. Recross your ankles and same thing. You walk your hands up the back of your legs and pull your legs toward you. Yeah, and breathe. Not plow pose, so you don't have to do that. There's like two different types of yoga people, like those that overdo and those that underdo. Eventually fall somewhere in between. Take another breath. All right, release your legs, getting ready for bridge pose. So set your heels down behind your hips, behind your butt, toes facing straight ahead. Place your hands on the sides of your mat so that you can touch the edges. So wrap your fingers around the edges of your mat and start to pull it apart. Now step down into the big toe side of your feet. Tuck your tailbones over the back of your knees and start to lift your hips. Roll your upper arms underneath you. And then keep trying to pull the mat apart as you lift your hips, point your tailbones straight ahead, push your knees forward, lift your chin away from your chest. Lift up onto the ball of your feet. See if you can lift your pelvis slightly higher now. And keep stepping to that big toe as you bring your heels back down. Try to keep your hips this high. One more breath. And slowly lower to the ground. Let's do one more exercise here on the floor, pose on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then bring your legs towards you for thread the needle. Take your right hand between the space in your legs. Interlace your fingers either on your left hamstrings or your left shin. And rock. So the bottom part of your left leg can be relaxed. And you might like to flex your right toes towards your shin. You can rock from side to side here as well. Take another breath. You're going to keep your legs like they are. Take your fingers off of your shin. Place your left foot back on the floor. So your right ankle stays on your thigh, on your thigh. Hold on to the edges of your mat again. We're going to do bridge pose with figure 4 legs. So press into the big toe side of your left foot. Point your tailbone toward the back of your knees and lift. And then roll your upper arms underneath you, pull your mat apart, and lift your chin away from your chest. Nice slow breaths here. Try to keep your butt up. Okay, start to bring your hips down. And take your right leg off. Cross your left leg over your left ankle over your right thigh. And then bring your legs towards you so you can thread the needle, bringing your left hand between the space in your legs. Either interlace your fingers around your right hamstring muscles or your right shin. And say hello to your outer hip muscles. You might rock from side to side a little bit. Notice that when we start to go into poses that give us a little bit more feedback, notice how your breath changes. And I know it might be hard, but as best you can, try to even out your breath again, smooth it out. One more nice slow breath here. Remove your hands from your shin. Bring your right foot to the floor. Step firmly into the big toe side of your foot. Start to point your tailbone toward the back of your right knee. Hold on to the edges of your mat. And lift. Lift your pelvis. Roll your upper arms underneath you. And lift your chin away from your chest. Breathe deeply. So when you do this, your butt might be pretty close to the floor. That's okay. We're just lifting up as high as we can. Another breath. And slowly lower. Bring your knees into your chest. Either hold onto your shins or wrap your arms around your legs. Rock from side to side. And then either roll to one side to come up to seated or rock and roll up to seated. Okay. Sit cross-legged with one shin in front of the other. And then place your hands on your knees. If you have blocks, you might find this easier to do on blocks or even seated in a chair, which obviously you won't be able to have crossed knees if you're sitting in a chair for most chairs. You can have your feet on the floor, but do have your hands on your knees. So as you inhale, you're going to bring your face down toward the floor in my case, and then lift your face up. And as you exhale, tuck your chin and round your upper back as you lean back. Okay, we're going to do that a few times. Inhale, diving forward, lift your head. Exhale, tuck your chin, rock back. Okay, so basically this is cat-cow while seated. And it doesn't matter how far you lean forward or back, do it to your own capacity. And feel the things that are happening in your hips and your back as you move. Okay, come forward and sit up. Switch the leg that's in front of you and keep going. Nice full breaths. See if your movement can match your breath. So your breath it stays. Your inhale continues until it can inhale anymore. And your exhale is the same thing. I'll get there. A couple more just like this. And we're gonna add. So inhale, dive forward. Notice which leg is in front. Exhale, as you rock back, pick up your legs and do a little boat pose. And then inhale, set the opposite shin in front and dive forward. Exhale, rock back into boat pose. Inhale, switch your shins, dive forward. And keep going. If you find boat pose to be too difficult, you can modify by taking your hands onto the floor or the arms of the chair behind you if you're using a chair. If you find it to be easy, just hold boat while we do this. Just a few more. Okay, this time rock back to boat hold. You might have your hands down behind you like I was saying. Try to bring your thighs a little closer to your chest and pull your low back in a little bit more. Take another breath. Good, and then bring your feet down. Come to your hands and knees for a moment. Tuck your toes underneath your feet and then sit back on your heels. And it might feel too uncomfortable to have all of your weight sitting on your feet, so you might stand on your knees. Okay, reach your arms up, take a deep inhale. Look up. And exhale, reach out and down, and look down. Inhale, turn your palms out as you reach up. Look up, bring your palms together overhead. And exhale, turn your palms out as you reach down and look down. Really, really reach too the entire time. Reach as far as you can as you reach out and up. And reach as far as you can as you reach out and down. Even when your fingers are pointing toward the floor. Keep going. Last one. Untuck your toes. Take your knees out wide so that your big toes are touching and your knees are wider than your hips. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, fold forward, but try to lead from your chest. Don't bring your arms down until you can't help it. And then bring your hands to the floor. Okay. Take a breath here. Strongly pull your low belly in, your low ribs in, and start to lift back up. Lifting from your belly, lift your arms, come back to arms overhead. Take a deep inhale, reach up, look up. And then exhale, fold forward. And like you did before, don't bring your arms down until you absolutely have to. We're going to do that a few times. Inhale, lifting up, lift from your belly, lift your chest. Try to lift up all in one piece. And then exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands down last. Keep going, inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last two. Way to make child's pose hard, right?
No doubt.
Really use your tummy to be the lifter. Now exhale, downward facing dog. Place your hands a little wider than shoulder distance apart. Spread your fingers, tuck your toes, push back. Then downward facing dog, walk in place. And take your feet back further than you normally would. Nice stretch for your calves here and hamstrings. Lift your butt up, bring your ears between your upper arms, squeeze your inner elbows in and push down and forward through your thumbs. Okay, take your feet so they're just slightly wider than your hips. And bend your knees as you walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale, lift halfway up, rise up onto your fingertips, keep your knees very bent. And then exhale, fold over your thighs. Do that a few times. Inhale, lift your belly, your chest, look forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. And keep going, inhaling up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift your belly, your head, look forward. Exhale, fold. Last one. And fold. Okay, take your feet out now as wide as your mat. So your heels are on the edges of your mat and toes are actually hanging off. And if you don't have a yoga mat, that's okay. Take your feet about half a foot wider than your hips. Bend your knees. Start to walk your hands forward, back into down dog, but now with wide feet. Take a little shorter down dog than you usually would take. So your hands are a little closer to your feet than they normally would be. And lift up onto the ball of your feet. And then from here, bend your knees as deeply as you can. And then press down into the ball of your feet, lift your butt. Try to keep your butt this high as you bring your heels down. Okay, inhale, lift up to the ball of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees as deeply as you can, bring your butt down. Inhale, lift your butt, straighten your legs. Exhale, try to keep that as you bring your heels down. Inhale, lift up to the ball of your feet. Exhale, squat down. Inhale, straighten your legs, lift your butt high. Exhale, try to keep that as you bring your heels down. Inhale, lift to the ball of your feet. Exhale, squat down as low as you can. Inhale, straighten your legs, lift your butt. Exhale, bring your heels down. Okay, stay here, take a breath. Narrow your feet so that they're now on your mat, but they're still wide. Look forward, walk forward toward the back of your hands with wide feet. Keep your knees a little bent, interlace your fingers behind your back. Lift your knuckles away from your back, bring your arms away from your back, lift your shoulders, let your head hang, knees are still bent. Hang from your hips, let your spine drop down toward the floor. Imagine your head as the weight at the end of your spine, giving you some traction here. You might even move a little bit side to side. Let your head sway. Full breaths. Another deep inhale and exhale. Place your hands on your hips. Squeeze your elbows in. Inhale, lift your belly, your chest, look forward. Exhale, press off of your heels to stand up. Inhale, reach out and up. Bring your palms together overhead, look up. Exhale, bring your arms to your sides. Extra points if you got dizzy. Cha-ching. Okay, stand at the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Look up. Exhale, fold forward, bend your knees. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Exhale, step your right foot back, step back as far as you can. Bring your right heel over the ball of your right foot, left knee over your ankle. As you inhale, push into the floor and lift your butt up as high as you can, straightening your left leg. And then exhale, re-bend your knee. Let your hips kind of sag a little. Only time it's good to have saggy hips. Inhale, lift back up. Drop your head. Exhale. Come back down. And keep going. Couple more just like that. Every time you straighten your left leg, really try to lift both of your hips as high as you can, and then rebend. Your back leg stays fairly straight the entire time. One more. Okay, stay in this low lunge. Start to bring your right heel down. So you turn your right heel in toward the left, and then walk your hands toward the center of your mat, turning your left toes in as well. So now your feet are parallel. Bring your hands so they're underneath your shoulders, either on your fingertips or palms on the floor. If that's too low, you can put your hands on a chair. Inhale, lift your belly, look forward, lift your butt. And then exhale, round your back, tuck your tailbone, push into the floor. You can do cat-cow with wide legs. Inhale, lift your butt, lift your chest, look forward. Exhale, push into your hands and feet around your spine. Keep going. So if the back of your legs is like super killing you, your knees should be a little bent or a lot bent. Couple more times like this. Arms stay straight. Big deep breaths. Last time. Okay, start to walk your hands over to your right foot. So now you're walking toward the back of your mat. Turn your right toes out. Come onto the ball of your left foot. Take your hands underneath your shoulders again. You're back in a low lunge. And as you inhale, straighten your leg. As you exhale, re-bend your knee, so right knee. Left leg stays pretty straight the entire time. Inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, re-bend. And keep going. Couple more, just like that. Big breaths. Let your hips kind of sag when you go into lunge, and then lift your butt, lift your hips up as high as you can when you straighten your front leg. Last time. Okay, take your right hand to the inside of your right foot, turn your right foot so it's parallel with the back of your mat. Parallel both of your feet. Now you're back into that wide-legged forward bend, Sarada Padottanasana. Okay, inhale, lift your hips high up behind you, lift your belly, look forward, keeping your elbows straight at first. And then exhale, bend your elbows out to the side. Unless this is already a huge stretch for you, then you don't need to fold forward. Okay, if you're folding forward, maybe your head will touch the floor, or if you have a black block or something, you can put that underneath your head. Hold on to your ankles. If you're staying in the halfway position, you could try to do this holding on to your ankles as well. But it might be more like you're holding on to your calves or even the back of your legs, or keep your hands on the ground. A couple more breaths here. No matter where you are with your hands or arms, push down more into your feet. Notice if your foot's kind of collapsing in or out. Really balancing that weight there. Last breath. Place your hands down underneath your shoulders and straighten your arms. Coming back to the halfway position, turn your left foot out and walk your hands to your left foot, coming up onto the ball of your right foot once again. Step back to plank. Feet hip distance apart in plank pose. And then look forward, push into your hands and feet. Yep, tuck your tailbone, lift your belly, lift your low ribs. Look forward with your eyes, keep your head in line with your shoulders. Push down more, and then start pushing down and forward. Lift your butt up as you do it, so you end up in downward facing dog. Big breath here. In down dog, take your feet together. Cross your right ankle behind your left. And then start to walk your hands back to your feet. I always think my feet look like little mermaid fins, fish fin, when I do this. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Your knees might have to be bent here. And then exhale, fold. Walk your hands over to the left. Now, it might be so intense for you that walking over to the side is just like, puts you over the edge. So you can stay at center if that's better. Notice if your weight is hanging out all in your heels or the ball of your feet, and balance that out. One more deep inhale and exhale. And walk your hands forward. Keep your feet as they are. Bend your knees a little and come forward to plank pose with your ankles twisted. Good, hold here, look forward, squeeze your legs together. Draw your low ribs in, lift the back of your heart. One more breath. And untangle your feet. Feet hip distance apart, look forward, breathe. And now push down and forward strongly with your hands, lift your butt as you do it so you end up in down dog. Take a breath. Bring your feet together. This time, take your left foot behind your right. Breathe. And start to walk your hands back to your feet. Push the floor away strongly with your hands as you walk back. Okay, so here we are again. If this is already enough, you're just going to stay at center. Otherwise, you might walk your hands over to the right. Nice, slow, deep breaths. One more. Come back to center. And keep your ankles crossed, but walk forward into a plank pose variation. Really push with your hands into the floor, pressing down firmly into your thumb and index fingers and all your fingertips. So once again, you're in plank pose with twisted legs. Really squeeze your legs together. Push into the ball of the foot that's on the floor. Fingertips look forward with your eyes. Keep your head in line with your shoulders. And lift the middle of your back up a little more. One more breath. Unwind your feet. Come to regular plank. And push back to down dog. slow breath here. Bend your knees, look forward, and start to walk toward the back of your hands. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, reach out and up to come up. Exhale, bring your arms at your sides. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, step your right foot back. And once again, you're going to be on the ball of your right foot. Heel over the ball of your foot. Left knee directly over your ankle. And we'll do a little twist here. Take your right hand to the outside of your left thigh and push your outer thigh and hand into each other. Turn your chest a little more to the left. And don't lean forward with your chest. Bring your chest over your hips. Then reach your left arm back. Okay, so you can either just keep reaching straight back with your left hand or turn your palm to face out and bring the back of your hand to your right hip. Sneak a little bit more of a shoulder stretch in here. Another breath. And one more. Okay, unwind. Put your hands back on your hips and slowly lower your right knee to the ground. Bring your right hand underneath your right shoulder. We'll take another twist. Place your left hand just above your left knee and turn toward the left. So for this pose to be just like a little bit more hip oriented, if that's what you're looking for, you could step your left foot out a little wider and let it come to the pinky side edge of your foot. But that definitely changes things quite a bit, and it might make it less accessible for you. So just see which one is better. I loved this one when I was pregnant. And low back pain was just my friend all the time. Last breath. Okay, bring your left hand down underneath your left shoulder and take your right foot back. So we're gonna do like a kneeling plank, left foot back, excuse me. We're gonna do a kneeling plank. Knees are behind your hips, so not tabletop position. Knees hip distance apart, shoulders over your wrists. Draw your low belly in, tuck your tailbone toward the back of your knees and look forward. Take a deep breath. So we'll move through cobra pose. Squeeze your elbows in and start to lower your thighs, just your thighs and pubic bone down. Keep your elbows squeezing in, bring your shoulders away from your ears, drawing the bottom tip of your shoulder blades together. Start to slowly lower all the way down to the ground. Good, and then take a deep inhale, come back into that cobra pose. You don't have to use your hands here unless you really want to push and straighten your elbows. As you exhale, come slowly back down. We'll do that a few times. Inhale to lift, press your pubic bone down, lift your chest, curl up. You might even look up. And exhale, come back down. So you're deciding if you're going to use the push of your hands to bring you deeper into the back bend. But keep your shoulders moving away from your ears. Draw the bottom tip of your shoulder blades together. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Next time you do it, next time you lift, stay, take a breath. Now push down harder into your knees and hands, draw your low belly in, try to lift back to that kneeling plank. Tuck your toes, push back to down dog just for a breath. And slowly walk forward toward the back of your hands. Feet hip distance apart, inhale, lift your chest, look forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, reach out and up as you stand up. Exhale, bring your arms to your sides. Take your hands to your hips. Inhale, bend your knees slightly. Exhale, step your left foot back. So your step back far. Keep your right knee over your ankle, left leg straight. Take your left hand to the outside of your left thigh and reach your right arm out. Good. And you can either stay like this, or if you want to get more into a shoulder stretch, turn your right palm to face out and bring the back of your hand to your left hip. Nice, slow, deep breath. Two more breaths. Okay, turn to face forward. Place your hands on your hips and slowly lower your left knee to the ground. And place your left hand on the floor underneath your shoulder. Take your right hand to your right thigh. And then again, so you could stay with your leg exactly as it already is, especially if this is already quite difficult for you. Or you can try widening your right foot out to the side and turning your toes out. This might make the big toe side of your foot seem lighter, and you can accentuate that by actually purposely coming to the pinky side edge of your foot. Keep turning your chest to the right and breathe. Nice slow breaths, just notice what you're feeling. Notice your reaction to what you're feeling. Take another big breath. Okay, bring your right hand down. Lift your butt so you can step your right foot back just slightly easier. Coming back to kneeling plank. Okay, look forward and then slowly lower your thighs, pubic bone, belly, chest. As you bend your elbows, try to draw your shoulders down away from the sides of your ears. Inhale, lift up for cobra pose. Baby cobra or adult cobra if you're ready. Take a breath. And once again, push back to that kneeling plank. You gotta really gather your belly, gather your ribs. Downward facing dog. Nice long, slow inhales and exhales here. Walk your hands back to your feet. And take your feet so that they're wider than your hips, so wider than your outer hips. Bend your knees. Interlace your fingers one more time behind your back, and then take the opposite fingers on top. Lift your knuckles away from your back with your hands, and lift your knuckles toward the ceiling. Let your head hang, and pour the weight of your upper body down toward the floor and out of your pelvis. Notice the weight of your body in your feet. Notice where most of it is hanging out, and start to balance that at the soles of your feet. Nice, slow, deep inhales and exhales. One more breath. Release your hands to the floor. Take your feet out so that your heels are on the edges of your mat and your toes are hanging off the sides, and then start to sit down into squat pose. You might end up lifting up onto the ball of your feet, or maybe your heels can stay down if you widen your feet a little bit more. So kind of push your legs out to the side so you can wiggle your upper body even closer or more between your legs. And then stretch your right arm out in front of your right shin. Turn your chest to the left and start to lift your left arm up. You could do that same arm variation that we did in the lunge. Turn your left palm behind you, bring the back of your left palm to your right hip. If it's more comfortable to reach up, then you can do that.
chest back, take another breath. And then switch sides. Lean forward a lot, even reach forward a little bit so you can wiggle that arm even more in front of your left shin. Turn your chest to the right and then reach your right arm up. You either keep your right arm reaching up or turn your right palm to face behind you. Take the back of your hand to your left hip and breathe. Nice slow deep breaths. Squat pose, ironically, is a great lower back and leg release, except getting into it can be so hard that it makes it not really something that's going to give you any relief. Take another breath. Okay, turn, look toward the floor, release your right arm, and then you might need your hands back behind you. You're going to sit down. Bring the bottom of your feet together, getting ready for Baddha Konasana, bound ankle pose. Walk your sitting bones a little closer to your heels, and then bring your heels a little closer to you as well. You can sit up on a blanket or a block if this seems just way too hard. Start to press your outer legs toward the ground. Inhale, lift your chest, look up. And then exhale, pull yourself forward over your legs, but keep using the strength of your legs to bring your legs toward the floor. Move your shoulders away from your ears. And breathe. Just a couple more breaths here. Inhale, lift your head. Exhale, sit all the way up. Take your legs out in front of you. Just kind of shake out your legs for a moment. Do one seated twist before we lay on our backs. So take your legs, bring your feet together, big toe side of your feet. Bend your right knee, bring your right heel towards your right glute. Turn your chest towards your right thigh and wrap your left arm around your thigh, and then turn more to the right, more towards your inner thigh. Take your right hand down behind you, and look over your shoulder and breathe. Just squeeze that right bottom tip of your shoulder blade in towards your spine a little more, sit up a little taller, and then flex your left toes toward your shin. And last breath. Turn your head, look forward, and release your leg. Bring your left thigh in, or left heel in rather. And turn toward your left leg. Wrap your right arm around your leg. Take your left hand to the floor behind you. Pull that left shoulder blade in towards your spine. Pull your right toes towards your shin and look over your left shoulder. Breathe, strong, slow breaths. Final breath here. turn to face forward and unwind yourself. Wind your way onto your back. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and take your feet just a little bit wider than your hips. And just rock or windshield wiper your knees side to side for a moment here. You can start to let your deep breathing go now. Getting ready to go to Shavasana. So if there's anything that you need to grab to keep you comfortable, you can start to do that now. If you're uncomfortable laying flat on your back, there's all kinds of other resting poses that you could choose, like child's pose. Okay. Start to stretch your legs out in front of you, taking up at least the space of your own mat. And then arms at your sides with your palms facing up. Tuck your chin slightly to lengthen the back of your neck. And just let yourself start to relax. Give yourself these few minutes here to absorb all the poses that you did before that. And let yourself settle in. Toes. When you feel ready, doing any bigger stretches that sound good to you. And the next couple breaths, find your way back up to a seated position. You can sit tall without a lot of effort. And check in with how you're feeling now. Noticing the shift and the changes that have happened. Leave your hands as they are or bring them together in front of your heart. We'll finish with a final Om. Take a deep inhale. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks for taking this class. I hope it helps you to feel rested and unwind. And thank you for being my student today, Mike.